Hello, it's me again. Last time we ran over just the basics and we didn't really have any specifics in mind. Well, I just spent several hours in a hot tub trying to open up my senses in a sense, or open up my mind, or just calm down and relax. And as I sat there, I thought of a story, and I thought I would tell this story. It's a story of a man. This man was born, and as a young child, he was given a life of privilege. Only privilege. He experienced nothing but bliss. He had a guard of 100 men, and he had men who would hold umbrellas to shade him from the sun. He knew no suffering, he knew no pain, until his late teens. Well, this man was born in a kingdom of a palace, of course. And, well, he left the palace in his teens, and as he was going through the village that accompanied his palace, he saw a man coughing. And he didn't know what this was, so he asked his servant, "What is this?" And his servant said, "This is sickness." He had never seen sickness before, though, so he inquired more about it, and the servant said, "Sickness is something that we all experience. It's suffering." And he saw another man who was shriveled, and he was decrepit, he was old, and he asked, "What is this?" And the servant explained, "This is aging. This is something we all experience." Well, this man, who had experienced a life of privilege all of his life, suddenly felt extreme compassion, and he desired to understand why there has to be suffering, because he had never seen it before. Well, he was essentially beginning his path to enlightenment. He found a guru, and he listened to this guru for a very long time, and he did the utmost that he could do. He put all his devotion and will into following this guru. Well, he wasn't getting the answers he desired, so he found another guru, and he put all his emotion and desire into experiencing this guru's way of life and trying to understand life. Well, after a while, he realized that neither guru, nor any guru, could truly find the answer for him or lead him down the path, and he realized he must look inside himself to discover the true path to enlightenment. Well, from this point, he started what is known as an ascetic, I think it's ascetic, lifestyle, a lifestyle of pushing away all worldly desires. This man began to wither, and he stopped eating, and he experienced extreme suffering and pain. He would sleep on a bed of nails. He pushed his body to the extreme of pain so he could understand suffering. He thought this in itself would bring enlightenment. Well, after many years of doing this, his body withered, he dying, was sitting in the street, and a young lady brought him fig pudding, and as he took this fig pudding, or no, it wasn't, it was rice pudding, yeah, whatever. Anyways, it was food. He was given food, and he felt such compassion and such happiness from receiving that food that he suddenly realized that the answer was near. He didn't quite have the answer of enlightenment yet, but he realized that compassion from another and compassion to others is a huge part of it. He's getting close now to completely understanding enlightenment. Well, he decided to stop his ascetic lifestyle and stop his suffering. He realized that when you suffer, all your focus goes onto the body, and it goes onto pain, and you don't really have, I wouldn't say mental capacity, I would say the time to discover the meaning of life. That's what he realized when he was given this food. So he went to a nearby stream, and he stripped himself, and he bathed himself, and he went and he sat beneath a tree, and he decided he would not move until he understood enlightenment. And he sat there, and he sat there, and the god of desire suddenly came up from the ground with an army of demons, and his army of demons began shooting arrows at him. You gotta understand that the god of desire was very worried that this man was going to change the world. He was going to lead everyone away from their worldly desires. And as the arrows rained down to him, they began to turn into flowers, and they began to just litter him with beauty. Next, the god of desire decided he would tempt him, and he sent his 2 or 3 lovely daughters, but this man resisted. And then, finally, the god of desire said, "Who will be your witness to the enlightenment?" And this man, sitting in a position with his eyes closed, just a simple meditation position, took his hand and he pushed it to the ground, and the ground started shaking, and he said, "The earth will be my witness." And at this point the god of desire quit, and the man reached enlightenment. This man's name was Buddha. Well, Buddha didn't know what to do. If he felt like if he described this enlightenment to people, people would just perceive him as crazy. So he decided not to teach, but a god came down, and a god said, "Buddha, you are the only man or being who has ever reached enlightenment, and you must teach us now." And so that's where Buddha began his teachings, and that's the story of a man who went from extreme pleasure to extreme agony to enlightenment.